Would you agree with this, that you were the David Beckham of women's football at that
David
time?
Beckham.
But did she get what David Beckham's got with it? That's a little bit...
So the answer's no. The game has grown that much now. It's all over the TV. The current players will probably get that recognition, I think. I hope.
You were a star of Bend It Like Beckham.
Was you in? So you were in the film?
Yeah, we're in the background.
I'm going to go home and watch that now.
The defending against Keira Knightley was atrocious.
Other people are more proud of me than what I am myself. And it weren't until I received my gold cap in the glass box that I finally thought, you know what, I've done all right here.
Oh,
Secondary fire.
This is actually happening.
this is the middle of
The podcast. You go and do what you need to do.
We'll be back.
We'll be back. Welcome back to the Scouse Code with Bianca Cook and Paul Garrity. In this episode, we've left Merseyside and made our way to Staffordshire to meet an Everton legend. Rachel Unitt may not be from Liverpool, but she's certainly earned her title as an adopted Scouser. She played for Everton for 8 years, over 2 spells, winning the FA Cup and League Cup. But added to that, she's an England Centurion with 102 caps. Now a firefighter, Unitt speaks to us about her footballing journey and how her time on Merseyside shaped her life. So let's get straight into this episode and meet former England defender Rachel Unitt. Rachel, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We're here. Well, tell us where we are at the moment. Where are we? Because we go to various different locations. So tell us. I think people can work out we're in a fire station. But
Yeah,
where
this
are
is
we?
the coolest one we've been
it
to.
is so far. Yeah, go on.
And the coldest.
Yeah, the coldest, yeah.
We are at Hanley Fire Station, Staffordshire. My place of work.
All right. Okay.
Yes.
So we'll get into the reason why that's your place of work as the show goes on. But the reason why you're on this show is because you're not because you're a Scouser, but because you are an Everton legend. So you are an adopted Scouser, for want of a better word.
Some
Would you agree with
adopted
that?
Scousing, yeah. So, yeah, definitely. She's a legend as well. So.
Absolute legend. Now, you played for Everton for 8 years over two periods. What does that kind of mean to you? Because 8 years is a long period of time. What does that mean to you in terms of your footballing career? Do you have great memories from playing for Everton?
Yeah, of course. That's where I learnt my trade, under Mo Marley. He was a fantastic manager. And obviously the likes of Farrell Williams, Jill Scott, Jodie Hanley, Becky Easton. So back then we had a great team. I moved to Everton, I think, when I was 16, 17. But yeah, I spent a lot of time in Liverpool. Didn't pick up the accent.
Oh, no, you haven't got it?
I'm joking.
Not this beautiful accent.
So yeah, it was a massive part of my footballing career and probably where I learned, like I say, where I learnt the trade. And from that, become successful, with England. And
You're putting yourself down there. She's
Put
done a
yourself
lot better than that.
Yeah, exactly.
Pick yourself up, girl.
A glittering career. To give people a bit of an outlook as to what your career was like. 102 England caps, England Centurion.
scraped it.
Scraped it.
Just got in there.
Just before, yeah. And 8 goals as well. We'll talk probably about a few of those goals as well as we go on, because there's 1 or 2 memorable ones, isn't there, really, as your career went on. You're a Hall of Famer. You're in the English Football Hall of Fame. I don't know whether we're qualified to speak.
She's a legend, yeah.
Absolute legend.
It's an honour being here.
And I remember after Euro 2005, you were that big a star at that particular time. I remember speaking to a number of people, and they said, would you agree with this, that you were the David Beckham of women's football at that
David
time?
Beckham.
No, but in terms of your popularity, though, because a lot of people knew who you were for that period of time.
Yeah, but did she get what David Beckham's got with it?
definitely
That's
not,
a
no.
little bit,
Didn't
little
get-
bit
The answer's
different.
no.
Didn't get the dollar. You didn't get the dollar, did you?
You can bend it like Beckham, but
Yeah.
you didn't get the dollars like
That's
Beckham.
right.
That's the difference.
Would you agree with that statement?
You know what?
It makes you
I'm
embarrassed, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. But
Why
That's
can't
what-
she
that's what
be
peop- that's what
Rachel
people
Unitt?
tell
Why
me.
can't she
Yeah,
be
well,
that?
you know.
Why can't
Yeah.
he say he is the girl version of Rachel?
He is the Rachel Unitt of men's football.
Yeah, let's turn it round.
Yeah, turn it around. Sounds better, doesn't it? But yeah, that's what people used to say, but I wouldn't say it myself.
You wouldn't say it yourself,
what
and now you're a firefighter. So clearly, are there any similarities between football and firefighting?
Yeah, I'd say so. Obviously, the social sides, you get the banter and everything else. And I think skill-wise as well, obviously football, there's a lot of skills you need to play at the elite level. You know, you need the communication, the commitment, the dedication, and the adaptability. And it's pretty similar in the fire service, you know. So I've transferred those skills across. So it's been quite a smooth transition from football to the fire service.
They're like the life lessons that we don't actually appreciate, do we, when we're in sport? Like that, what you learn, and then how well it can transfer over in life and other massive opportunities like firefighting. You don't appreciate it when you're younger, when you're just in like a sports environment, do you?
Yeah, I don't think you realise that you pick those skills up until, like say, the next step in life. And like say, fire service, you know, it's helped me massive playing football and picking up all those skills to transfer across. Because obviously I probably wouldn't have had those skills getting into the fire service. So
and all the banter that went with it.
The banter, yeah. I work with 4 or 5 guys, so you can only imagine, can't you?
One of the things you and I spoke the other day about this podcast, and you know, you are probably fitter now than you were when you were playing. Would you agree with that? I mean, it's a different type of fitness, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. If you put me on a football field and asked me to run for 90 minutes, I would probably be dying, and I'd probably struggle, and I'd probably suffer 5 days later.
Yes.
And I experienced that a few months ago. We had a 5-a-side tournament, a fire service one, up in Manchester, and it was like, no, we lost in the semis, I think it was. Yeah, Scotland won in the end.
Oh.
But for the next 5 days, I was a wreck.
Written off.
Yeah, because it was like stop-start, isn't it? 12 minutes. That 3G surface, honestly, my body was dead. But fitness-wise, yeah, I train probably as much now. I think I'm a master at burpees now. Card burpees. I do love a burpee.
I remember you messaging me a couple of years ago about burpees, and you said, right, try and do, was it like 10 and then repeat that 10 times or something?
Just like pyramids and stuff. Yeah, I've got a new one now. You pack of cards, so you go through the whole pack of cards, burpees with 2 minutes run between, and so you turn 5 cards, like, run 2 minutes. So yeah.
That sounds.
Is that
I do enjoy it.
You know, when we talk about fitness and that sort of thing, what is your regime? Anything like that sort?
I ain't doing no burpees. Let's put it that way. Yeah, obviously we've got to make sure we add the conditioning. In Taekwondo itself, I do every morning is like conditioning. The more sparring, the more like conditioning rounds on the pads, you get conditioning in that. But we do actually do like conditioning twice a week every time. We do like running, bike, the odd circuit, depends what phase we're in. But yeah, I ain't doing no card burpee jumps. Do you have to, for firefighting, like train? Do they make sure you do some training to, like, in your day-to-day work as well? Is that part of being a firefighter?
Yeah, we get an hour a day to go to the gym. As you can see, you might see at the top there. There's a gym up there, which is it's great because it was quite small, the gym, but the police have moved into share the building with us now, so they've extended the gym and there's more equipment. So they've got some good stuff in there, but we get an hour a day to do a bit of cardio, a bit of weights.
Is that like compulsory or not really?
Yeah, it is, but there's some that
have a day
don't bother.
Yeah.
So you and I have known each other for
too long.
Too long. Yeah, best part of 20 years, isn't it? Really?
Is it?
Yeah, it's best part of 20 years.
How old are you again?
Flew by.
Yeah, it kind of went by. Yeah. So 18 years, I think it is, 2005, when you and I met. So it was just after the Euros. You were kind of at the height. I think we actually met each other digitally first before all of this.
Is that MySpace?
I was going to say that. Instagram went around back then.
MSN.
I remember you were one of the first people I remember being on MySpace, actually, which was absolutely bizarre.
I'm just going to put out that I didn't have MySpace.
Yeah,
there you go.
You're too young for that.
Exactly. Us oldies. But it was, remember after Euro 2005, it all went mental for you. There was a fan site made, if you remember. Do you remember this fans forum, this Rachel Unitt fans forum? Do you remember that?
I think I remember that.
Because you were in the States at the time, I think, when all that kind of kicked off, because you went over to the States after the Euros.
Someone created it. I think,
someone created it, and all these fans kind of
is that the one that you were on?
That was, sorry, what was that?
The one you're on.
I'm still on it. I'm the only one who's still on it.
Only liking it now.
Yeah, exactly. But I remember, because I was doing my research into women's football, because I just started doing it for the BBC. So this fan site popped up. And I remember you were on it, actually speaking to the fans and what have you, saying, how's this all turned out and all the rest of it. And I remember I messaged you, and you were in the States, and you went, I said, I might be interviewing you at some point soon. Do you remember anything about that time?
So yeah, I'm joking.
Yeah,
Just
should
say
pretend.
yeah.
Yeah,
Finish it up.
I remember the fan page. Now you've said that. Now you've brought it up. But chatting, I'm just trying to think. I think vaguely I do. I'm sure.
Do you reckon it's still there? We'll have to have a look, see if it's
Unless somebody... It's
long
still
gone now.
going.
It's
Have
somebody
you still
will-
got that password for
Yeah,
it?
exactly.
Or-
Yeah. Somebody will have had to pay for the domain for that, isn't
Username.
it? So yeah, so somebody would have to pay for that. But no, but at that time though, you know, because you were a big name and whatnot, was it the only time in your career really where it's kind of just gone a bit mental?
2005. No, for me, I don't think it was any different because, like you say, there weren't that much media interest in the game back then. Like I say, you was probably one of the first broadcasters or whatever that were involved with women's football. But like I say, because there weren't that much media interest back then. It weren't. I don't think it was that mad. Even like I remember being at Euro 2005. Like there was quite a bit of publicity then and media interest, but it weren't like, you know, if you look at
What it
telly
is
now
now.
and look at like the likes of Leah Williamson,
Yeah.
she's everywhere. It was nothing like that, which I quite enjoyed. I like to be in the background.
I think like for that though, like we've got to remember what you did then. I'm not saying back then, like what you did to start it off. Someone started it off, and what the girls are getting now, and how it's gone a lot more on TV, and like you said, like people know the female team now by name and everything. It's not just like, oh, that girl over there. That started back then as well. It doesn't just change overnight. It grew and grew, and you were part of that first bit, which I think's like impressive and is nice to like know about that side, and because you're like the legends from it that lead this off, and they'll be the start of the next generation when hopefully in like 10 more years or 20 years the girls game even more is bigger than the boys. So there's all stepping stones, and you were the first stepping stone of it.
Yeah, we kind of paved the way, didn't we? Like our era, we weren't successful at the start of, you know, my career when I was 18. We weren't athletes, we weren't fit, and like the Germans and the Americans were like the two top teams back then. And then the FA employed sports scientist Dawn Scott, who basically set us training programs, and she turned us into athletes.
Actually had to train,
Yeah, and that's when we became more successful, because technically we had the ability, but we just didn't have the other side, the fitness levels.
Well, they say that, don't they? Talent and hard work, it has to come together to make it. You've probably all had all the talent, and now you've got the...
But like we never actually won anything. We got to the Euro finals, lost to Germany 6-2, but we was always we qualified for every World Cup, every Euro. So we did improve a lot, but we were still a little bit behind the Germans, the French, the Americans. But now it's different ball game. Different ball game there, isn't it?
We've caught up now.
But the thing is, Bianca, you made a very good point in the respect that the women's game has gone through almost phases, because there was like a dark period where there was no interest whatsoever. The women were kind of ostracized and the game was banned. Then there was a period where, if it's like it was really amateur, it was almost behind closed doors for a lot of time. But I think Euro 2005 was the next generation of the game, which then, as you say, paved the way for what we see now. In terms of legacy, we'll just get into that briefly, just for a second. In terms of legacy, are you still involved in the game in any way?
No, just watch it and put a bet on it.
Put a bet on. I was going to ask you that.
That's probably the
I
biggest
like that
thing.
bit.
Yeah, have a little bet. But I do still, to be fair, I do still watch the women's games, club level and international. But other than that, I don't have a lot to do with it.
But in terms of like Everton, you were, I would say, Everton legend, played there for 8 years. Have you got any involvement in the game now?
Nothing at all. Nothing. Not heard from Everton since Mo and Keith left, probably. I know there's a few Tonys back there, isn't she? So
Yes.
there's maybe one player that was around when I was around, but other than that, nothing.
But I think that's one of the things that the women's game needs to grab hold of, because we speak about, say, Liverpool men's team. We know all about Steven Gerrard. We know about Kenny Dalglish, because they're spoken about all the time because they're legends of the football club. Everton, Dixie Dean. I mean, Dixie Dean was probably the first legend in football, whoever knows it. And then you've got, you know, Graham Sharp and Andy Gray and Howard Kendall and all those names. I think in the women's game, that's something that's missing, because we have had this generation of players like yourself and Kelly Smith and Farrah Williams and et cetera, come through, but they're almost forgotten once they've left. Do you think that's something that the game needs to improve upon to understand the past so you can embrace the future?
Yeah, I think so, and I think that will come.
Yeah.
Like I say, it didn't happen in my generation, but I think it'll happen in the next, the next 10 years, because obviously the game has grown that much now, and it's all over the TV, so people actually know the players. Whereas back then we weren't really, unless you had family, friends involved in women's football.
And they put it on TV. It had to be on TV because, like, social media is different now as well.
Yeah, like I say, you didn't have social media back then. So I think like the next generation, like say 10 years time or whatever, then I think the current players will probably get that recognition. I hope
so.
Yeah.
Hope so.
Yeah, well, it's certainly that if the game progresses, like we all want it to, I think it does need to embrace former
I do
players.
think it's like a negative. Like it is obviously unfortunate that you didn't get the limelight, should we say, for it. But I think like if we turn it into a positive, like hopefully, like we said, it started off, and the generation that we've got now for the women's football in 10 years, we know them legends coming through who have been there, and it's not forgotten. Where, like it said, it always starts somewhere. We probably don't remember the past legends. So hopefully this is, like we said before, a stepping stone, and the girls get what they deserve. We just want you to get more, basically.
Yeah. To be fair, the FA do have a Legends programme.
Yeah.
So we'll do little appearances. Like there was one, like over the Euros, I did an appearance up in Liverpool, actually.
Yeah.
For the FA, the Lionesses live programme.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So we do
on
little
YouTube,
bits.
yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So they're like the old generation
Dabble,
players.
sprinkle.
Yeah. So we do get a little bit of like work from it and whatever else.
But you're not completely forgotten. You are in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
I heard.
The English Football Hall of Fame, yeah.
Fame.
That's
Yeah.
it's a big deal, that.
You've got like is there like a picture of you on the wall?
Yeah, I think so.
and
Or
like
some signed football boots
yeah.
or something. I
And
remember him
things in a
emailing
glass
me
case.
after something just to put in there.
Is it?
Yeah.
So do you remember what's in your glass case?
I'm sure it's like a white pair of signed football boots.
Washed. You said socks, then I was like, washed.
Socks. They'd be rotten now. Yeah, but it's an absolute honour to be in the Hall of Fame, obviously, alongside some legends, like Jill Coulthard, Kaz Walker, Yanks is in there, Rachel Brown, and then on the men's side you've got Bex,
Probably Bobby
Stanley,
Moore.
all the old. So that is a nice
achievement,
little
like-
touch. Yeah.
So we've spoken a little bit about where we are now and what you've done in your career and so on, but there's a journey obviously to get there. So I want to hear a bit more about your journey. So you grew up in Walsall, West Midlands.
Posh part.
The posh part. Oh, is it really the posh part?
Not gonna lie, I don't know what it is.
I've been. Is that really the posh part?
Nah.
No.
My
There you
street's
go.
all right.
Say yeah.
Yeah.
No, but you grew up there. I know your dad is massive into football and that sort of thing. Was he your main inspiration?
Yeah, definitely, 100%. Because he used to play semi-professional amateur when I was growing up. And then my house backs onto a big field with like 3 football pitches on. So he'd take me over there most days. So that's kind of where it'll begin. But yeah, he's definitely my biggest inspiration. And I don't think if it was for him and my mum that I wouldn't have achieved what I achieved.
Because I know you've got 3 sisters, and at times they've all kind of taken part in it and then eventually dropped off. I know your sister Becky, she's massively into her fitness and stuff now. Why was it for you the thing that you kept on going at? Why does you keep going on with this idea about football?
Again, I think it was my dad.
He just seen you were the
Yeah,
best.
and I was a tomboy growing up, so I
Yeah.
grew up with boys. So boys love football, so that's
Played
what I
it.
did. Yeah, like most days, like say playing on the field, and it just went from there on. Really, I joined the first football team when I was 11. That was an all-girls team. Obviously played in school, primary school, and back then it was an absolute nightmare. There was 3 teams in our league, and we played each other 3 times. That was our season.
That was your draw.
It was honestly, it was ridiculous. There was no teams about whatsoever. There was no academies, no school of excellence, and I didn't even know England existed till I think it was probably about 15. It was crazy.
Talking about your dad, he was also your coach as well for these teams, was he?
He didn't coach the first Birchells, the team, but he he helped coach Wolves when I moved to Wolves when I was 14. So, but his biggest role was taxi.
Dad's taxi.
You know, when we were younger, like he played, there wasn't many girls' team. Do you ever play on the boys' team? Like you hear stories of people like pretending they were a little boy to play with the boys and have more football teams. Did you ever do anything like that?
Yeah, I did play mixed football. So I played for the girls' team when I was 11. And I don't know if they folded, but then from about, I think, 13, 14 maybe, I played for a mixed team.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I know there's a few girls. Rachel Yankee played for an all-boys team. And I think she cut her hair off short, didn't she? She looked like a boy.
There.
And I think they all complained because they knew she was a girl, because she was that good.
Because I think there was a limit, wasn't there, at the time, as to what age you could actually play for boys and girls teams as well. And I think she passed because she changed her name. And
yeah, it's classic, that, isn't it?
It's good though, isn't it? Like stories like that, it's like now girls are allowed to just play. There's more teams, there's more things, but that wasn't there though. That's what I always get back, like you had to go through them barriers to get just to play on a Saturday, Sunday, just to play, have a bit of fun. But yeah, it's so interesting. It fascinates me to see that, and it's like them barriers broken down now because of back then.
Because
hopefully they just keep getting broken.
But you say that, you know, you only found out about England when you were maybe about 15 or so. Who were your idols then in football? I'm assuming they were all blokes.
Yeah, I'd probably say I used to play left wing, so I looked up to Ryan Giggs, David Ginola. I used to love Zinedine Zidane. He was a legend.
He was boss though.
Yeah, he was good. And yeah, like you say, the first time I saw England or knew there were an England team I'd been training with Wolves, and we was in the clubhouse after, and England women were playing Norway on the TV.
Oh, okay.
And I remember Sue Smith. I think they was losing about 7-0, but I always remember Sue Smith playing. So she was like one of the first women footballers that I knew of.
Because she's only about a year or two older than us, I think. Sue. I think so. So she must have been really young playing for England.
I think she must. Well, if I was 14, 15, she must have been 17, something like that, when she started playing for England. And back then they only had seniors, open age, and then under 18s. And that's when my career kind of kicked off, when I turned 16.
So you were at Wolves at this particular point when you got into the England under 18s, is that right?
Yeah. I'd just turned 16, and my manager sent me for a trial. England trial, and that's where it all started. I got in under 16s, played under 18s, played there for 2 years, and then when I turned 18, moved up to the seniors.
Because you've just found out there's this England pathway, what were your ambitions in football at that particular age, at say 16? What were you thinking?
Yeah, I think before I knew there were an England team, I think I just played because I enjoyed it. I didn't really think. I don't think I even thought I wanted to be a footballer. I think back then I wanted to be an ice cream man, woman. Honestly, or working at Chippy. That's what I wanted to do as a kid. I must have enjoyed my food. Yeah, so I only really started to take football serious probably around 15, 16. So I think I saw England play and thought, right, I want to play for England. But still played for enjoyment. And then as soon as I was entered into the trial and got into the under-18 teams, I thought that was it. And that's the season I moved to Everton, because Everton were in the top league, Wolves were in the league below, and I felt the need to move to improve.
Yeah.
So I moved to the top league.
So that was 2000. So you would have been 17 going on 18, is that right?
17.
So 2000. So you would have been 18.
18
at that particular time. And so when you moved to Everton, then did that automatically coincide with you going to the England setup?
I would have been at Everton, wouldn't I? That would have been my first year at Everton.
What with your debut at England?
Yeah.
Do you remember what that felt like though? Like coming out with the shirt on, and
that was nerve-wracking. It was because we played at Velodrome in France.
Yeah.
So
Marseille,
we played.
Wasn't it? Yeah.
We played before. We played against France women, and then after we played, the World All Stars were playing against the men's French national team. So, like to start with, the stadium was like, I think it held about 55,000 plus. It was quite, you can imagine, they weren't there, and then it was building up, and then I come on at half time. I think the stadium, there weren't that many in there at half time, but then you come out after half time for the second half, and it was like, where did all these come from? I think there was like 55,000 people there, so it was like,
that was your first time as well, your debut.
Nerve-wracking.
That's impressive. That's a memory you'll never forget.
Yeah, that is
feeling.
That is one that I do remember. Me and Casey Stoney making our debuts
on the
game.
same day.
Yeah.
You kind of make your debut in there. It just for me, when you're young, these things happen and you're able to adapt to it quite quickly. For you, was it just, oh yeah, this is just the way it is? What was your mind thinking at that particular time?
You know me, I'm quite laid back,
Yeah,
so I
I
just
know you
kind
are,
of whatever. It is what it is. But yeah, I do actually remember receiving my letter for the seniors. I was away with the under-18s at the time in Norway. I used to play left mid, and then Hope played me left back for this game, and I must have done all right because then before I got home, I'd got a letter with a call up for the seniors. So that's how that came about.
A left back.
Yeah, and that was it. I was left back from then
So
on.
you played that one. You must play that well. You got into the team and then you stuck in that position.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, that's quality.
Well, it's just you were a rubbish left winger.
But
and
yeah,
they
that
just
was
put you-
it.
No pace.
Well, let's face it, Sue Smith was there in front of you for a good few years, wasn't she? So, and then Rachel Yankee was there as well.
Yeah,
so,
no
skill
chance.
set wise, they had those jinky little
Yeah.
ones, didn't they?
I got no skills whatsoever.
She's a left back.
I'm just
Yeah,
simple.
there's nothing else to
Simple, give and go me.
it. Yeah.
I think you played all sorts of different positions in your career as well.
Yeah,
haven't you? You
I played
played
centre
left
mid at
back,
Everton.
centre back,
Oh,
centre
God.
midfielder.
Is that your favourite position?
Left back. I'd probably say probably
Yeah.
because I know the game. But I think I quite enjoy midfield.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I like to play football, so I'd like to be that holding midfielder.
Spread
who's just-
around?
yeah.
Bit of a Gareth Barry throwback sort of
Gareth
thing.
Barry, yeah.
I feel like if I played, I'd be like a defender.
Yes,
You'd chop everyone,
Yeah,
wouldn't
I'd
you?
just be like, bah!
yeah,
Come at me with legs.
I've seen. Well, not
So
only
I'd
have
be
I
like-
seen you fight, I've seen you train, and I've seen you
Yeah, I'm psycho.
train with the blokes. And when you kick, the blokes end up. You know, your coach, he's forced.
Oh, yeah, he's took some shots, to be fair. Like, you've got to give credit to the coaches. Like, whoever holds.
You know when you
Holding's just harder than kicking itself.
Yeah.
because you've got hold of that big pad and you're kicking it, and he's
So do you like that thick? And then the body armours are like that. So,
gotta say,
but to be fair, you get used to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd put my taekwondo pads on and defend.
Yeah, I think you'd be good in goal as well.
Because I'm so long.
Imagine, you wouldn't
Nah,
even need
to
to
be
use
fair, I've got
you
good
wouldn't need to use your
reaction.
hands. You could just get your leg up there.
I've got good reaction, so maybe I'd just be like, I never know. You never see. Next step in my life after
you never know.
taekwondo.
Yeah, exactly. You never know. There's still time.
I know.
There's still time. So you join Everton. You work under Mo Marley and Keith Marley. How much of an influence did they have on you and your career? Because you said earlier on, it almost kick-started.
Yeah,
things.
massive. Like I say, Mo has taught me everything, along with Hope. Hope was a great manager, but she's great, Mo. And any player that has worked under Mo, they'll say the same thing. She's just, as a coach, she knows her stuff. She's brilliant as a manager. She's got the man management skills that you need, and she's just a lovely lady. So much so. She even, because we didn't get paid back in the day.
Yeah.
We used to travel to training Tuesdays, Thursdays. It's Fridays. And then play Sundays. And she used to put me and Farah up
Oh.
in her house overnight, save us travelling. It wouldn't happen these days, would it?
Yeah.
Imagine.
Oh, yeah, imagine.
But yeah, so...
Imagine, can I just stay over, please, for some training?
Yeah, I don't know.
He fed you as well, didn't he?
Yeah, oh God. Fed us is not the word. Honestly, we'd get in from training Friday night and we'd have a big bowl of chicken pasta with like 2 jacket potatoes. Honestly, it was just fueling us ready for Sunday.
Ready for the big game.
But yeah, Mo played a massive part in my
Do
career.
you feel like people like that like changed your life and made you go on that path, like you said, that they did, and you'll always be grateful for them moments? in
Yeah, of
time?
course. I'll never be thankful enough for what Mo did for me. And like I say, she taught me everything. So 102 caps might have been 2 or even none. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So she's had a massive influence on my career throughout.
So when you joined, Everton, I'm assuming, were bigger than Liverpool at that particular time in the women's game.
Yeah. We
I was gonna say
were.
that. What?
Yeah.
In the women's
Can't
game.
say that in the men's game. You definitely
Women's
can't say
game,
that in the
yeah.
men's game.
We were always top 2. Everton, like there was the leagues. It's pretty similar to now. In the league now, you got probably 3-4 teams that are competing every year for the
Yeah.
title.
Yeah.
But when my generation, it was us and Arsenal, so we were like the top 2 teams. But we never
It was always a near
won
miss,
the league,
wasn't
did we? Won a few cup
Yeah.
competitions, but never the league. They were too tough. They were too good. Arsenal were them.
But they were also, you know, when you think about Arsenal in that particular period, in the mid-2000s up until the WSL era, they were virtually professional anyway, weren't they, as a team? They had the structure right, the relationship with the men's team, you know, they had a close relationship and there was funding put into the women's team. What Mo was doing at Everton was
single-handedly.
It was
Yes.
she was funding that team with a lot of the things that she did.
Yeah, you're right. Because the Arsenal girls, because obviously through England we had relationships with the girls, so I knew them. And they were trained pretty much full time, and they used to work for Arsenal men. So they used to be like the laundry people washing the football kits and stuff like that. So they had jobs.
Even be there, they'd be around the place all the time.
Yeah, and they got paid for jobs there. So whereas
That's
like
crazy,
you said,
that, like thinking about that now, like imagine the Euros team now.
Leah
with the
Williamson
laundry.
scrubbing his pants.
Yeah, Maguire's pants.
In Ketier.
Good job. Things have changed.
I know, yeah.
But the influence that Mo had on Merseyside football, but not only Merseyside football, on the England setup as well, I don't think, you know, can be praised enough, really. And every player I speak to from that era has got a lot. I've got a lot of time for Mo because she allowed me to come into the Everton women's team. Do you remember the first time I jumped on the coach?
First coach trip.
I remember the first. Do you remember where it was?
Just like a quiz.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. Well, I know
I
Rachel's got a
remember
terrible memory,
because
so I'm
asking her,
testing.
like,
I'm
do you remember when I
testing
got on the coach?
I can't remember who it was against.
Bristol
away, was
Bristol
it?
away.
But I remember
Yeah, you were
chatting to you.
injured. I remember you were injured.
Again.
Again.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah, but one of the things that I remember was I approached her and said, "Look, I'm, you know, on behalf of the BBC and the Liverpool Echo, I want to come and report on this game." And she effectively said, "Yeah, come and you can even come on the coach to the London trips and everything. You have to pay for your room,
Yeah.
but you know you can come on the coach."
Transport.
It was just an open door, open arm policy.
Yeah, you couldn't
And
do
I
that
learned
now.
so much from that 2 or 3 years when I was on that coach up and down the country, and it was all thanks to Mo Marley.
Yeah, she's great, isn't she? Everyone loves her. No one has a bad word to say about Mo.
Speaking when you were with Mo and you stayed there, can you remember what colour her bin was? Basically, was it purple?
Ooh, purple. Now you've said that. Purple. I must have gone out to that bin a few times.
She's never put
Put
the
a
bin
few
out.
jacket potatoes in there and a bit of pasta.
The second one you never had.
I can't. I don't want to say purple because I can't be
So
100%
it's a no
sure.
then. We're going to go for no.
We'll probably pop up whether it was purple on the video of this.
Yeah, have a little thing flashing
ding,
here
ding,
with the
ding.
purple
Anyway,
bin.
back to the actual proper
Anyway,
questions.
back to the proper question. So you were at Everton for a year. There's a story as to why you left Everton, and that was to go to Fulham. I'll hand that over to you. Why did you leave Everton and go to Fulham?
I left Everton to go to Fulham. It was full time, so it was obviously you're training every day. So full time professional, and
the next step.
yeah, the next step basically you get paid, and the players there, they had some great players. You know, not only English players but international players. So that was the big selling point for me.
But you had to drop a league as well. You had to play in the Southern Division.
We had to drop a league and then work our way up, which
That's crazy. That there was a bit more professional, but it was the league below.
Well, that was because
Yeah.
Mohammed Al Fayed came in, didn't he? And he funded the women's team.
Oh,
And he
okay.
wanted the FA to actually take
over.
over,
That's-
didn't he?
I think he pumped 5 million to the women's side, and I think the first year they were in the third league, and they won that league. And then I joined them when they're in the second league. But the idea of that was he was hoping that the FA would take over and create some professional league, but that didn't happen. So it was like full time for 3 years, and then it was part time after that. So
Oh, okay.
So, and in that particular time, you were record breaking as well because you got promoted first season, which if you're professional, you're going to get promoted. But then it was a test the following season, and then you went and wiped the board and won the domestic treble.
yeah,
What was
treble.
that? What was that
And
like
the
for you?
Community Shield. Don't forget that one.
Because you won the FA Cup the year before in 2002. I'm testing my memory now. That's televised, so you're on television. Everything's great. But what was it like for you as a team to just wipe the floor with everybody in that second season? Can you remember
It's
that?
a great achievement, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what you. That's
She's
what
like so laid back. She's like,
Yeah.
I
push her
turned
over.
up,
'cause I don't know
scored
what
all
to
this,
say.
did that, and won.
Yeah.
See you later.
No, is it?
You know, we were saying before,
Anyway,
right? Rachel's like, you know more about it than she knows about herself. So it's definitely coming out now that you do know more.
Shall I? It's because you know.
Just let's ask you questions about
Okay,
Rachel.
yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we'll do that. Fine and fair enough.
Oh,
There we go. Oh,
What's
there's
this?
the call. See what it is. You might be secondary fire. We're probably back in about 10 minutes.
Oh my God, this is the
This
middle.
is
Are you gonna
actually
film us
happening.
driving off?
This
It's
is the
actually
middle
of the podcast. You go and do what you need to do.
We'll be back.
We'll be back.
Mid-interview, and Rachel has to leave to put a fire out. So Rachel has just left us. We got in the fire station.
How are you enjoying this so far then?
Gutted Rachel left, but I'm so happy that we got it on camera. So Max, you'll have to step in. Oh, she's back.
There
She's
she is.
back.
Honestly.
I'd love to say
Like-
it would be blazing.
Get your microphone first. Get your microphone first.
Yeah.
it might help.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Honestly. Go on. What are you saying?
Yeah, I was gonna say I'd love to say it was a blazing inferno, but it was the tiniest grass fire that I could have pissed on, to be honest.
Yeah. To be fair, we did not plan that. That was like not a setup or
Not
nothing.
at all.
That
Not-
was like real life. She's
Real
been gone
life.
for like 5 hours.
Yeah. 5
exactly,
hours,
It's like
yeah.
3 hours
Just
later.
had a shower, wash all the.
Freshens up.
Yeah.
Oh no, that was cool. That was like good to see as well. Like for me, things like this fascinate me and stuff. So I was like, as soon as they went off, I was thinking, where's she going? Wait, what is it? What is it? Is it a building? Is it this? But
Because you were waiting to hear something when the announcement. So what did that tell you?
Yeah,
before
so
you left?
basically it'll say Hanley 1, and it'll tell you what kind of fire it is. So that was secondary. So it's usually like a bin fire, grass fire, or, but then sometimes it'll say RTC, road traffic collision, house fire. And then
okay.
when you hear persons reported, that's when you have to get a sprint on.
oh, is that what it is?
Yeah,
That's
so
the
there's,
worst.
it basically tells you what it is, where you're going to.
But what's the big one? Like, let's say
It'd be
building.
house fire persons
Oh, was
reported.
it?
Yeah, or
Oh.
RTC persons reported, which we had house fire, I think 2 weeks ago. And me and Sam were in BA first, and that was
Oh,
fatal.
really? Oh,
So,
was it?
yeah,
Oh.
yeah. So yeah,
But today we had a little grass fire.
yeah, we had a little grass fire. You see
Yeah,
4
so-
kids wandering across the field, so you're thinking, okay,
Yeah.
oh, shit.
That was an experience and a half. And I think anybody who watched this podcast, because obviously we have listeners as well, but anybody who watched it and watched everybody kind of.
Well,
Well,
me and
what's
you
happening?
panicked. She was dead
You're like,
calm.
what
I
are you
panicked
doing?
as well. I'm only joking.
Oh God, the cameras.
Yeah. Do you know what I do though? It still makes me jump.
Yeah.
And like sometimes, especially in the middle of the night, if you're like fast asleep and like you wake up, I sit up in a V sometimes and I'm thinking like, where am I? And I'm like putting things on. I'm putting like clothes on backwards and everything because obviously I have to put my
Yeah,
red
yeah.
T-shirt and stuff. So it's like
Well, we seen you when you were running. You had like that thing on your
Balaclava
head.
thing,
Yeah,
yeah,
the
balaclava
flash
on
hood.
your
That's
head.
yeah for
Well,
like,
just going to Nick something here. This is the scouser we adopted. I'm joking.
just scouts coming out of me.
Oh no, yeah, it was impressive. I was dying to jump on.
And,
Yeah.
well done as well for responding as quickly as you did. So
Yeah.
it's
I'll
kind
say
of
it for about 2 minutes, didn't I? No, they've probably been upstairs, so that's make the way
But
down.
back to the actual podcast.
Yeah.
Where was
we,
it?
Second half.
we were speaking about your Fulham days, so we'll repeat over that again because you won the domestic treble in your second season. Can you remember much about that? Because you had such a great team at that time. You had Rachel Yankee. I mean, there was just so many players.
Yeah,
wasn't
phenomenal team then. Chaps, Yanks, Rachel MacArthur, Mary Phillips. So we had, I think we had 6 or 7 internationals, England internationals, a couple of Norwegians. If it was Charlton, I remember playing Charlton in the FA Cup final one year, and I think it could have been, that year, I think we won the treble. I always remember the Community Shield. I don't know why. I think it's because
Must have been your favourite.
my favourite.
It must have been you like because you remember it so often.
Yeah,
Must have
it
been
was-
a moment.
The Community Shield was, do you know what it was? My sisters had just had, was it Evie? My sister had a little girl. and I
Okay.
took a baby on the pitch. That's why I remember it. And it was summer and I had the best tan ever.
See, great
Yeah,
memories.
Yeah.
Tanning a baby.
But yeah, I have a lot of fond memories. Fulham, like we used to play up a treat. Like we used to train like double sessions Tuesdays and Thursdays, and me and Ronnie, she's Irish, but we used to go to what's the name? New Malden, the area where we used to train, and we used to go into fancy dress second-hand shops, and we used to come back in like fancy polka dot dresses and stuff. We just used, honestly, it was the best time. Fulham were probably my best footballing days, along with Everton. But we did have some laughs.
And one of the things I do remember, because it's been on the television many times in your Fulham days, is you were a star. Did you know this, by the way, Bianca?
I don't know. I'm waiting for
a star of Bend It Like Beckham.
We were in the background. Yeah. Keira Knightley scored the winner past me or something
The defendant against Keira Knightley was atrocious.
Was you in? So you were in the film?
Yeah, we're in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
we're
my
like
God,
the
I've seen
team.
that loads of times.
Yeah, we're the team that played against Keira Knightley's team.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's fast.
So
I'm going to go home and watch that now.
So you got to watch it to the end though, because we're dancing at the end. It's just so awkward.
Oh, that's fast. That's
But yeah,
amazing.
so
claim to fame that. Forget the football.
Yeah.
Forget
Yeah,
the five. You were in Bend It Like Beckham.
Yeah. So because you let Keira Knightley score a free header, I messaged, because it was on the telly a few weeks ago,
you
I
said
messaged
it.
you and said, what sort of
Ball
defending
watching again.
Was she any good at it, or was it like 1,000 takes? Just
No.
she was terrible.
Yeah. I mean, she was a trier.
Yeah. Oh, okay, give her that.
You say that, the time at Fulham was one of the best along with Everton. Then you moved to Everton again once Fulham didn't get what they wanted, which was full-time professional football in England. You moved to Everton. What was the reason behind that? Because that was about 2004 when you went back to Everton.
I went back after 3 years. So I did 2 years full-time at Fulham, and I stayed on for the third year, which they went to semi-pro.
Yeah.
And it didn't really work out because of the commuting and everything else. So, I went back to Everton, and I think I felt like I owed it to Mo and Keith, to be honest, because the only reason why I moved was because it was full-time football, paid job, and I did enjoy my time there. So I thought, I'll go back there. And I think that's when, is it at the year that Farah and Jill come across as well?
So Farah was the same year as you. Jill came 2006.
Yeah, because I
2
think
years
we
later.
attracted, when Farah came, we attracted a few more players, didn't we, as well? So
it was and then Natasha Jowie joined 2007 and so on. And then when you look at your time at Everton, there was a number of near misses, wasn't there, in terms of trophies? 2005, missed out in the FA Cup final. But then the League Cup final you won against Arsenal in 2008. What was that like for you guys? Because you were so close against Arsenal many occasions, but to do it in a major final,
Finally come over them.
finally getting the one over on them, what was that like as a group?
it was great. Like you say, we've been second to Arsenal for years, been so close, but never actually beat them or won a trophy. So to win against Arsenal in the final was phenomenal, and it meant everything to us at the time.
It's like all that work you've done in all them years. It's paid off.
He paid off finally. Yeah. Was that the game I gave away a penalty, or was that
No,
FA
we'll
Cup?
talk about that further. We'll talk
Let's
about
not
that
talk
further
about
down the
mistakes.
line. Because Amy Kane scored the winner in that one after 7 minutes, and then you just had to hold on then for the entire.
See,
for the
I love
entire
this
game.
though. Like you're like, did I score there?
I know.
You'd ask me name still again.
I know, I'm like,
Well, the thing is, if I did my job properly,
Yeah,
I
you
should
should.
know everything about all the players and all the matches, and I like to think I did.
Stato, isn't you?
Yeah, I'm winging the whole thing.
You're
here.
either Stato or autistic.
Yeah, I am both. I'm both. You know what I mean? And then it was a few years until your next win, and it was against Arsenal again. It was the 2010 FA Cup final.
Yeah, I remember this one.
And you remember this one,
is the one
Yeah,
I
because you
remember.
just mentioned what you did
Yeah.
in that one. You gave away a penalty. What was that moment like for you?
Oh
in
God,
that one?
that was. I think, to be honest, I think it was we were 2-1 up at this point, and then I took Gemma Davidson out. She's a little whippet, proper quick. So I took her out in the box, and then they equalised, obviously, which took it to extra time. And then I think Tash Dewi scored in the last minute of extra time.
She did.
So we won, thankfully. Imagine if we would have
Part
lost,
of
I
it
would have
though,
felt
yeah.
like shit, wouldn't I?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, but that's all part of the game, innit? Like you can't. It's not obviously the one moment can change it, but at the same time, doesn't mean it's the whole reason why. Let's say it did go 2-2. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can't blame yourself for the penalty.
I know, yeah. It had to be
Unless
done.
you're in the England final and then
Yes, exactly.
you're like, what did you do there? Yeah.
So, you started picking up a few trophies and you were overcoming Arsenal in odd games here and there. But we can't forget that they were the big juggernaut, weren't they, really, in women's football? And it was hard, really, for Everton to compete. Is that right?
Yeah, they dominated the league for years. And again, because they had some of the best players in the world in this country, the likes of Rachel Yankee, Alex Scott, Faye White, Kelly Smith, so they had a great team. But like I say, we was always this close. Unfortunately, we never won the league. But like I say, we've won FA Cup and League Cup, which was great for us. But yeah, they were unbeatable.
So then what was the reasoning for leaving Everton then and going to Birmingham? Because you'd had this good rapport with the fans, with Mo and Keith. You were, and at that point, I feel like an adopted scouser. You were one of us.
How long were you there for, before?
8 years I was at
8
Everton.
years it was. So you were there for 8 years and then you moved on.
Mm-hmm. I think like the last year or so, I think I just felt like I needed a new challenge. Things come a bit stale, yeah. And that's the reason why I moved to Blues. Plus, they had a decent team, and it was nearer to home because obviously we weren't professional, so I was still doing the miles and like I say, I felt like I just needed that new challenge. Football for me I think it's probably where, the last few years of my career, I probably didn't really enjoy football as much as I did. And I think that might have been the beginning of it. Because even when I moved to Blues, I had a great time there, but still I didn't have that love like I did for the first year. So I think that's where it kind of all started to change for me.
It does sparkle out though, doesn't it? Like you've started off, everything's so high and then you achieve so much as well. And then to stay there for like a number of years, and sport does get a little bit more like repetitive, and then you start chasing them big wins, or you start chasing them different challenges and moments, and you totally understand and relatable to like probably everyone who does sport. Like, you're always looking for something a little bit more that can test you or challenge you.
That's right. You need just something
to
new, like
change it
challenge.
up a bit.
Yeah, and that's probably the biggest
reason. You get bored, don't you?
You do, yeah.
I do training every day, so all the time. It's like, come on, just someone new come in or something.
New opponent.
Let the gym change the colour of the mat, anything. It'd make me feel better. Yeah. I might kick a little bit better then.
Change the colour of the mat. It'll help. But you won an FA Cup with them after extra time, and then the penalties, shootout. You scored one of the penalties, and so there's another trophy. So by this point, you've won everything domestically. Number of times you've won things domestically. You've won a number of FA Cups and League Cups, and more trophies than you can actually probably count. You had your ACL injury, didn't you, in 2013? Was that part of the thinking?
Is this the same time around Birmingham, your injury?
Yeah, I did my first knee in 2013 at Birmingham, and then recovered. Did I move to Notts between? I think I was still recovering when I moved to Notts.
ACL's like devastating, isn't it, for
it's
football especially? And
it's the biggest injury, isn't it? Like the longest time out, and just such a like.
It's just draining as well. Like the rehab you got to do to get back, and then you get worried about probably being on the pitch again. Do you feel like you're the same person when you rehabbed it back and got back playing? Do you feel like
I think you lose that bit of confidence, don't you? And you get that bit of fear. I know I definitely did. And to be honest, I've done it twice. And the first time, I learned so much from doing it the second time. From doing the first. The first time, I had the operation on I think it was the Thursday. I come out of hospital the Friday, and I was in the gym on the Saturday, and all I could do is arm bike. And I remember falling asleep, like literally falling asleep on the arm bike. I think I went back far too early. And the second time I had a good week off.
Yeah. I was going to say, that's definitely way too early. I was still on the cocodamol, I think it was, like, out for a week.
Yeah, but then you was fighting about 2 months later.
That rescued me.
It took me 14 months, you 2 months. Crazy.
So you decide that you want to leave Birmingham to go to Notts County. You go to Notts County, and then you'd hoped it'd be a new chapter. Is that what you're thinking in terms of, finding a love for the game again, after leaving Birmingham?
Yeah, so from Birmingham, I moved across to Notts County again, probably still trying to find that love for the game. I did enjoy my time at Birmingham, but again, I think I was still, I didn't love the game as much. Yeah, so I thought, let's move again.
Spice things up.
Yeah. And did it work? No, it didn't.
Well, the reason why it didn't work, it wasn't because there was anything wrong with Notts County. It was you did your other race. You did your other knee, didn't you? Your other race.
Yeah, it was nothing to do with the club. The club were great, the players, and the staff were great. But yeah, I just recovered from my first one. Played, like you said, I think I played about 4 games, then 2 90s, and then did the other one, and then that was it. Well, that kind of ended my career without knowing. I didn't plan to finish playing football after doing that second knee. I just it's just what happened, I think.
Did you rehab it? Like you were gonna still come back and compete as a footballer still, or did you just halfway through just go, you know what, I finished? What happened?
I still went back to the club and still went for rehab and saw the physio.
It's crazy though, isn't it? Like, you've gone through all that, you've done all them games, the injury happened, but then you knew a little bit before that you wasn't loving it the same, but then the injury and the time coming back, it just must have hit you, and you must have just known, like, I'm ready now, I'm
done.
gonna hang my
and
boots
do you
up.
know what? I think it's probably helped, because if I was still had that passion and love for the game when I did both my knees, I think I would have been. I think the first one I was still a little bit like, still love the game, but I think it would have killed me to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, the devastating that you've been injured again.
Yeah, but I think it kind of helped that I didn't love the game as much as I did, and having these injuries. So it kind of helped me come away from football, I think.
Do you feel like that made your path go into what you are now?
Yeah, I think so. Because I did
like
work
a new
in
chapter.
I did work in a special needs school for probably the last. I think when I was at Blues and when I was at Notts, I worked in a special needs school for 5 years, like working with kids with behavioural difficulties, autism. So I did that for 5 years, and then I joined the fire service. I didn't get in. I applied for West Mids, which is my area, and didn't get in.
What, to the fire service?
My local one, yeah.
She's
Didn't get
just
in.
put out a grass fire.
Shocking.
People,
My house.
house, building. Sorry.
Yeah, so I didn't get into West Mids, and then applied for staffs and joined staffs. But to be honest, it's something I've always wanted to do. When I was 16, I went to my local fire station, work experience at school, and I went on work experience there. And from then on, that's kind of when I thought, this is what I want to do. But obviously, because of football, that was like priority, that come first. So I didn't join until I was 31. No, 30,
So young.
35. So this is my 6th year in. So
That's impressive.
I'm a late starter.
So you knew when you were younger you wanted to do it deep down, but your football took over, and then you fell back in love with it. And
Yeah, after the love of ice cream and chips,
That
it
went on.
was fire service.
We're just dragging it back to football for a second, because let's not forget, you had a big international career as well with England. You 102 caps, 8 goals. It's hard to kind of sum it up in just a few words, but what did that mean for you for England? Because it was such a massive part of your footballing career.
Yeah, it's my life, isn't it?
yeah,
Took over it. Do you know what? I'm one of these people. I'm quite laid back, and I think other people are more proud of me than what I am myself.
yeah.
And it weren't until I received my gold cap in the glass box that I finally thought, you know what, I've done all right here. And that's probably the most proudest moment in the whole of my career that I've actually felt proud, if that makes sense. Obviously, playing for England, putting on the shirt, you feel proud. But I think when I received that box with with the gold cap in, that's when I probably thought, yeah, I've done all right.
No, you've done more than all right. You've
Right.
achieved a lot. You've got a lot. You were Player of the Year twice, I think.
Twice.
Well, that's
Yeah.
nothing to come by. 102 caps, like you said. You've won a lot, and honestly, you should be proud of yourself more than you let on to yourself. as
Wow.
well.
Are there
We're
any games?
proud.
Are there any games for England that stick out for you? As
Definitely.
memorable ones?
Obviously, playing in World Cups, championships are always big, but there's 2 that probably stand out for me, and that's playing in my 100th cap as captain.
Yeah.
That's what Hope used to do. If you
okay.
when you on your 100th cap, you should make you captain. Playing against, that was Croatia away. I think we won like 7-0, 6-0, and I scored in that game.
Oh, that's
But
fair. That's a good one.
the biggest one for me is probably playing in my hometown, Walsall, at Bescott Stadium. And my nan was there. My nan, she supported me all my career, but she was never able to get to any games because I was always miles away. But obviously, this one at Walsall, she came. And we won. We beat them 4-0, and I scored twice.
You
2
scored,
headers.
even better.
Hit me on the head.
Your nan.
So yeah, that was probably the most memorable game for me. Bescott Stadium in front of my nan, family, friends, scoring 2.
Yeah, because that was just
Like a
before the
dream.
Euros, wasn't it? That was in the build-up to the Euros,
Yeah, it was
in a friendly match.
Qualifier, wasn't it, that one?
Yeah.
So then-
Any others that stick out at all?
Any worsts?
Any worse? Yeah.
I've
You
had,
got
a
two-
few shockers.
Oh, yeah.
but-
Well, we haven't got a long enough time or roll for this.
Yeah, no time
I think
for that.
everyone's got more worst, but there's that's what makes the best.
Yeah,
I think for you probably, would you agree that the worst part of your England career was that period when you got injured against France before the 2007 World Cup, lost your place to Casey Stoney,
I was
who
at
was a
team.
centre-back
Yeah,
who played in at
left
left-back.
back.
And he didn't get really placed back in the team for about 4 years, did you?
Yeah, it took a while because there was Casey and then there was Steph, weren't there? So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that was a blow. And I think the biggest one was going to China when it was
For
World Cup 2007.
Yeah.
And I was the only outfield player who didn't play a minute. We lost in the quarterfinals to America. I don't know what the score was, but I think she even played the keepers before me.
Really?
So I didn't get a kick. My dad was fuming when Mum
He
and Dad
was,
come
yeah.
to
Oh God,
watch.
you've been all that way.
Yeah,
Wait
I
a
know.
minute.
They come
God,
to
30
watch.
seconds.
He was raging. But yeah, that was awful. That was. I could have just threw in the towel then, but I thought, you know what? No. I'm not
And the thing
letting
is,
it
though,
beat me.
we talk about
Yeah,
redemption stories, Bianca. You know, you've had a number of redemption stories in your career. For you, your redemption was you did actually make your World Cup appearances as starting left back in 2011. So it went full circle.
Yeah. So yeah, it went from not playing, kicking a ball.
Too many.
Yeah, to then starting. But you know, football's ruthless, isn't it? You're in or out. You can 1 minute you'll be the star of the team playing week in, week out.
Yeah.
Next minute, you might not even be on the bench. You might be
Yeah.
in the stand. You know what I mean? So it's just.
It's like
one
that
of them
level,
things.
innit? That top level, and it's just, it is brutal. Sometimes sport can be cruel, but it can be so kind as well at the same time. And like you
right.
said, your best memories you remember, but you've probably got more worse than, so cherish the best ones.
You take the highs with the lows, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah, so when you got into the fire service, like, how did you have to get into it? Like, what test did you have to do? Because it always fascinates me you always see things on TV and you think, did you have to do these massive tests or circuits or put out fires? And
Yeah, no,
just take us through it.
There's quite a few phases. So there's obviously you just got to show an interest that you want to join the fire, that you can work weekends, work shifts, this, that, the other, and then you're invited in to. I did a maths. No, you have to have maths and English, and then there's a like an emotions test. So you're given like a question, and then they give you 4 statements, and you have to pick what best describes you. So they're looking for patterns. So you basically, if you're an emotional person, then they'll see through all the questions that you're emotional or something.
Okay.
Or
So you can't be
it's
too
complicated,
emotional.
but they're forget them ones. The physical one, you have the JRTs, which is the job related test. So there's like a ladder climb. You have to climb up a ladder, lean back and look down. So prove you're not scared of heights. Then there's one like an endurance one where you walk up and down with like the hose reel, carrying stuff, carrying a weight. You have to do that in a certain time. And
Yeah.
then there's one called like the rat run. So they basically put like a mask on you, blindfold you, and you have to crawl through this area
wow.
in a certain amount of time and then come back.
I'd freak out. I don't know about you.
Yeah,
I want to go.
You want to go?
I'm like, come on, let me
it's
see if I
good
can win.
Yeah, it was good fun. And then the last one was just basically an interview and a presentation about, I did mine on what I'm most proud of. So you're given 4 options, what you want to do your presentation on.
Please tell me you said the 100 caps.
I did talk
Did
about
you?
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
I talked about football and Kilimanjaro because I climbed
Oh, of course,
Kilimanjaro.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh
So
my
that
God,
was
that's
in there.
impressive.
So that was in there.
So the Kilimanjaro thing, just take a break from
You forgot
fire
about that
service.
one, didn't you?
I know we should
You
have put
forgot
that
about
in.
that one.
I did forget about that one. That surprised me. Because you went up Kilimanjaro. Not only did Rachel go up Kilimanjaro, you...
Played a game of football.
At the top?
World record it is. So it's Kilimanjaro is about 18,000 feet high in it.
Something like that.
How long
Yeah.
did it take you to climb that?
Well, we climbed it in about 6 days. So we stopped at different points.
Yeah.
And then at the top, we climbed at the last part of the climb was like we started at midnight. I think we got to the top about 8 o'clock in the morning, 2 hours, and then like we made a pitch like there's a big flat sandy area at the top, so they use like salt for the pitch. Did they actually? We had goals at the top because you have porters that carry everything. We had corner flags, and then we played 90 minutes football. Honestly, it was the funniest thing ever. You can imagine because you run from here to the doors there, and you'd be like, because like obviously the
'Cause there's no
altitude, it was a
altitude, yeah.
killer. And then when you try and smash the ball, because it was in sand, the ball would just like roll 3 yards in front of you. But I was dying most of the time, just like
What was the score?
it was comical.
What was the score? at the end?
I think we won 2-1.
Did you score?
Did I? No.
Still.
Yes, I think there's about 50 of us that climbed it, women from all over the world. There's American International, Laurie Lindsay.
Is this for
Canadian.
charity?
Yeah, it
Or-
was like women's rights and all that. So it was for that. like equality and all.
That's
through
impressive.
that
It's a life
area.
story. That's a good
Yeah.
one. That's a
But
great
it
one.
was honestly, it was the funniest thing I've ever seen. But you'd be blowing, you'd literally run to the, and you'd have to like walk for like a minute to get your breath back. It was
Yeah.
hard. But yeah, I think 50 of us climbed it. I think the 2 didn't make it because of the altitude sickness. But
Yeah.
but
Oh,
yeah,
so
that was-
you can get like physically like
Yeah,
sick
like-
just from walking up from it.
yeah,
can't you?
we was one of the base camps. You can like hear someone like giving it. Honestly, yeah, honestly,
I've always wanted to do something like that, you know, like something really different, like climbing something.
Yeah.
I've said Everest, but then I've watched a few films and I'm like,
Oh,
don't know about
flamby
that.
days. You don't, yeah.
But no, that's impressive,
You should-
inspiring.
yeah,
Inspiring.
you should do it. It's good. Honestly, it was good. It was a good.
Next time
good,
you go up, let me know.
I will do. Yeah.
Bring me bib.
your bib and your goalie gloves. Put you in the net.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh.
We spoke about this a little bit earlier about, you know, you always have it. I remember you and I speaking about this a number of years ago, and I said to you, what's your succession plan? And you said to me, I want to be a firefighter. It came completely out of the blue. And it's something that you've had inside you for a long time, isn't it? You know, is it fulfilling those ambitions that childhood Rachel thought the job was going to be?
Yeah, 100%. It's cliche, but it is the best job in the world.
Is it?
Yeah, I'd put it up there with playing football. It's that good because I work with great people. They make it, to be honest. The boys I work with, they make the job. And obviously, when you do go into a house fire and pull someone out, you can
Yeah.
imagine how rewarding that is.
Like you're saving someone's life and
Yeah.
like you're giving yourself in service to everyone out there, and
That's it. To be
it's
honest,
inspiring.
It is. It is. I've had to be honest, we've had one house fire where I've had to pull someone out. But other than that, I've not had any life-saving incidents.
Yeah.
Few like car accidents and stuff. But to be honest, I've done a bit of work. There's one of the lads that were on my training course for the fire service. So he joined when I joined. He's got his own business called Rapid Fire.
Yeah.
So you know all like Coronation Street, Emmerdale, Peaky Blinders. They do all like the fire safety
Oh, okay.
for those
Yeah.
films or whatever.
Film
So
sets.
I've done a few jobs for him. So I've been in. Was it Peaky Blinders? Yeah, Peaky Blinders. I've done a bit of Emmerdale.
God, you're a movie star, really. Speaking Ben
Movie
like
star.
Beckham.
And, yeah.
Peaky Blinders,
Yeah.
Emmerdale,
But
the
yeah.
law.
So that's it really. But no, I think I'll be in this job now.
But when you look back on your
I'm
football
old.
career, what you've worked with some amazing people. Jill Scott went and won the Jungle. She's one of your good mates, isn't she, as
Yeah,
well?
Ginny. God.
Did you vote for her?
Yeah.
Did you? Oh, good. I thought
And
she was
and
boss.
bet on her.
I thought she was boss. Yeah.
She was great.
She was great. She was so real, down to earth.
Yeah. As soon as I knew she was going in, I knew
Just
she
normal.
was winning. Yeah,
That's what was nice.
Yeah, and it was great because like at the start, I don't feel like she had that much airtime because there's that many people
Yeah.
in there. But then you saw more of her as the weeks went on, and there was less people in there. But yeah, everybody loves Jill. I've got some good stories about Jill. In the middle of the night, you need the toilet in the middle of the night, pitch black. So Jill goes to the toilet. Next minute, I felt a hand
Touch you.
touch me. Yes, places that you probably shouldn't. I'm like, Jill, wrong bed. She was trying to get in my bed. She thought it was her own bed. But yeah, me and Jill, we used to be up sometimes, like, because you can't sleep when you're
Yeah,
away, and
yeah.
especially after games. We'd be up telling stories at 4 o'clock in the morning. Jill would be telling me about all the secret stories. That
And they're
she,
the friendships you make on
Yeah.
sport trips and stuff, and
It is. It's
the
great.
memories you make. But no, yeah, she did fantastic, and I'd love to go in the jungle one day.
Yeah, that's
I'd
right.
love to go
You
on
should
it.
do something.
Yeah.
You know what I'd like
Get
to
me
do?
on, Jill.
SAS.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah,
SAS.
my friend Jay Jones, she went on it and she smashed it, like, did really well on
she did,
SAS.
she did.
Yeah.
She got, was it,
Have to give it a go. That a little brutal, though. They mentally
Yeah.
crash you down, don't they? And she did so well.
Didn't she just drop out just before like the final round? Is that what happened?
I feel like they messed her over a little bit. She definitely should have been in the final.
When was
She didn't
this?
save someone or something, but she saved herself.
Oh yeah, that was the last series.
yeah,
wasn't it?
what just gone?
Not the one in the water. Was it the
Yeah,
one in
and
the
they
water?
were like, because she didn't like give it up in time.
Yeah.
Jade, you should have got through. Should have been in the final.
But yeah, it's brutal.
But
But
yeah,
you
next
should do the
time.
jungle. There
Yeah.
you go. What you've done.
Let me on.
Jilly, sort her out.
I don't like spiders.
Yeah, you
I
go,
shouldn't have
yeah.
said that. Did I?
There you go,
Don't
yeah.
like frogs.
You're talking yourself out of it as soon as you actually get there. But okay, let's just round up the pod and just talk about kind of where women's football is now. Because when you started, you said you were struggling for a team. Now there are teams everywhere. You look at the opportunities that young girls have and the players have these days. And England went and won the Euros in the summer of 2022. I'm assuming you, like everybody else, just believes this game has a great future.
100%. Like I said, the turning point was 2005, and it's just grew and grew since then. You know, and there's women's football is as popular as men's football, boys' football now. So if you're a young girl playing football, you're not going to struggle to find a club. So if you want to play football, women's football now, you're in the right place, yeah. But the game's massive now. It's all over the TV. Internationals' faces on bottle of Budweiser, crisps, do you know what I mean? So it's up there with the men's.
You jealous at all?
Am I jealous? No, I'm not jealous. Because I would be in now, would I? I would be in now. Yeah, I'm not jealous. I'm happy for you know, the game, and you know, I was part of that. So I'll never forget that. You know, we kind of paved the way, and players before us paved the way for the players these days.
When you had somebody like Alex Greenwood underneath you at Everton, and you know, I feel like your understudy, and you see what she's done kind of since, and she's played for Lyon, she's at Manchester City now, she's well on her way to 100 caps for England, and you know, you see somebody like her do so well. Do you feel as though you imparted some wisdom on her on that journey?
You'll have to ask her.
Well, I'll try to ask
because she was, like I say, when I was at Everton, she was coming through, weren't she? She was one of the kids. You'd like to think so. Like, I think if I was a women footballer now, or say 5 years ago, I think I would look up to a player that was in my position. Do you get what I mean? So if I was the Alex Greenwoods, I would look at myself, I guess, because it's natural, isn't it? You wouldn't look at the right midfielder, or
definitely.
You know what I mean? So I'd like to think, you know, that players of this generation, we were their inspirations. I might be wrong, but
I believe that you was. I believe that there's definitely people that looked up to you. There's people in Taekwondo who started it before us. I know Sarah Stevenson started it before we did. So and people probably don't know that before. So you've definitely made an impact. You started the way. I'll put my hands up and say that they'll say because it's definitely, you don't forget them people who started it all off. Never forget it.
Well, thank you very much for your time today, Rachel. It's been absolutely fantastic. I think I speak for both of us.
Thank you. I've enjoyed it.
You've been a great guest today. So what's next for you then? What's next on your schedule?
I think I'm going to have some lunch. I've not ate yet.
You've not eaten? I thought you'd well have eaten.
You've made me starve for the past 3.5 hours.
You've had plenty of time. Don't get me wrong.
Starving them.
You've had plenty of time. Well, thank you very much, Rachel. And it was great to see you actually go out in the van today as well.
No worries. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.